save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of 75 others. Please go to our website. Pledge a gift of life. You'll be glad you did.
The following Seniors Watch program contains scenes and discussions relating to seniors' abuse that may be disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Welcome to Seniors Watch. I'm Joan Chandler, the Artistic Director of Sheatre. Sheatre is the producer of this program. Sheatre is a community-engaged arts organization that brings together professional artists and people in the community to create artworks that are about their values and their concerns and things that are important to them. And we are located here in this area, which is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Nation, the people of the Three Fires, the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations. We're very grateful to the traditional keepers of this land, the Chippewas of Nawash, the Chippewas of Saugeen, who are known together as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation. And I'm really grateful to all generations of First Nations people for their care and their knowledge, and for sharing that knowledge about our earth and all our relations. May we all keep those teachings. For me, as a community artist, it's had tremendous impact on my practice and my work, but even more so on me as an individual. Those teachings have had a deep impact on my life. And I want to thank all of the children, all of the youth, the adults, and the seniors who have shared their knowledge with me and played with me over many decades. Miigwech.
Joan, thank you so much for that land acknowledgement. Joan and I'm Carol Merton. We're going to be hosting this program together, and we are delighted to be here and welcome you as a viewing audience to what we have to share today. For me, as a healthcare provider, this land acknowledgement recognizes the stewardship of the land and resources, including the herbs, the plants, and the historical knowledge that form the basis of many of the medicines that are available to all of us today. Miigwech. We're here today to talk about elder abuse on World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. We're going to reference this as WEAD during the program. And I am delighted to welcome one of the specialists here today amongst a group of other specialists who'll be joining us. Please, Angela Jensen, welcome to the program. And Angela is, and this is a very long title, so I'm going to reference it to make sure I get it right, is a staff lawyer and involved in the Elder Law Project at the Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic. But Angela is also the chair of the Grey Bruce Elder Abuse Prevention Network. Have I got that right, Angela?
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Good. Welcome. So tell us a little bit more about WEAD and what it means for our community and why you're here today.
Thank you so much, Carol. WEAD was started in 2006 by the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse and the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization is an organization of the United Nations that monitors health issues around the world. WEAD was started to recognize elder abuse as a public health and a human rights issue. There was actually a Canadian involved in starting WEAD. Her name is Dr. Elizabeth Podnicks. She recently died in February of this year. She was a great pioneer in the movement to raise awareness about elder abuse and to address this serious issue. She actually completed the first national study that we had in Canada about elder abuse way back in 1989. And she continued her advocacy for this issue, playing a founding role in the International Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, the Canadian Network for the Prevention of Elder Abuse, and Elder Abuse Prevention Ontario, as well as WEAD. So we have great mentors here in Canada to show us a path forward to address this issue. In 2011, WEAD became an official United Nations Day when the General Assembly passed a resolution urging everyone across the world on June 15th every year to pause and to reflect on how we can build a society that respects and honors our seniors in which there is no elder abuse.
Thank you so much. That was so important to hear, and to hear the history behind why we are here today to share information. Joan, I'll turn it over to you now. I believe that you have some additional things to add.
I have a question for you, Angela.
Of course.
All right. So statistics about elder abuse, they're so wide and far apart. And we were having this discussion last week, in fact. But is it something like 10% of elders who will experience this in their lifetime, or is it more, or is it less?
So 10% is the finding from the most recent Canadian research about elder abuse prevalence. I mentioned Dr. Podnick's study from way back in 1989. We didn't have any more Canadian research until 2012, and that study found a rate of abuse of around 8%. But then we had a study done again in 2022 looking across Canada, interviewed around 23,000 people aged 65 and older, and they found a rate of abuse of 10%. So we see a trend that there does seem to be either more reporting about this issue or more of it happening. And unfortunately, many researchers are concerned that we actually still don't have a good handle on exactly how much elder abuse is happening, because a lot of elder abuse occurs in families, and older adults don't like to talk about conflict in their families. So although we have this reliable study saying that 10% of people age 65 and older are reporting having been abused in the past year, we're still concerned that it's an underreport, that not everyone interviewed admitted when abuse was happening.
I can understand that. People are embarrassed. There's stigma. Yeah. And there's more than one kind of abuse as well.
There are many types of elder abuse, unfortunately. There's physical abuse, sexual abuse, systemic abuse, institutional abuse, neglect, abandonment, psychological or emotional abuse, and financial abuse. Research has been quite consistent, both in Canada and internationally, in finding that psychological or emotional abuse and financial abuse seem to be the most common forms of elder abuse.
The way that we're going to do this is different than just us sitting here. Sheatre, as I said, we create theater to demonstrate these kinds of things. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you these kinds of abuse using some dramatic scenarios that were created with seniors who live right in this area. These are real stories that happen to real people. We don't talk about the specifics. We're not going to reveal anybody's names because I don't think we ever really knew them in the first place, but we know that these are real stories. And then once we've demonstrated those stories, then we're going to look at them a little bit further to find out how we can remedy some of the problems and who are the resources in our community, like you, who we can draw on in order to help us out.
Now, Joan, I know you mentioned not too long ago in this part of the program about Sheatre, but I'm really curious to learn a little bit more. My understanding is that it's a professional arts company and it's based right here in Grey Bruce, that it creates theater that has a mission, a social purpose, and that's different from theater that is for entertaining, although I'm told that Sheatre can be entertaining as well.
It can be.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I also understand that there's an interactive theater component to Sheatre, and that's a new learning for me. Tell me more about that, because am I right in understanding that it's interactive?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me more. How does that, I mean, that's different. So how does it work?
Well, as I said, we've got the problem play. Now, you know, if you're watching a movie or watching a theater play and you're out there in the audience and you watch the problems begin to unfold, and in the movies you often see a character who, oh, I have to get away from this, and they go and they run away, and they're running, and then they go up the stairs, and then you go, and you're thinking, you're in the audience, and you're thinking, oh, no, really bad choice. You're going to get to the roof, and then we know what's going to happen. You're going to get stuck up. Oh, you're going to have to leap. Oh, no, this is bad. Well, in our situation, you see the characters getting into trouble. You see things going sideways, and we're going to involve the audience in stopping that and coming onto the stage with us and interacting with the actors to change things. So yes, you out there, we're going to be relying on you to come on up here and be part of our cast as we figure out, what could we do? What can we do? I don't know, but we'll figure it out. And then after that, we're going to talk about what's different between this scene and the one where the guy ran up onto the roof. What did they do differently? Yeah. So that's how the interactive portion works.
Lots of energy going to happen in this taping, I'm really thinking.
I hope so.
Yeah. So we're really fortunate today to have some specialists we can talk with. People who work with seniors, as well as Angela, of course, who's been introduced earlier. And I'd like to welcome and introduce them. So in the first segment, you will hear from the following specialists. Sandra Hong, who is a public education coordinator for the Alzheimer's Society of Grey Bruce. Joanna Mullen, employment lawyer, Grey Bruce Community Legal Clinic. John Farmer, manager of the men's program and CMHA. And Sunit Kukreja, manager of YMCA Grey Bruce Settlement and Language Services. So, to those who are watching today, we understand that these stories that you're about to see and hear, and the discussion may be triggering. You might have experienced, or you might actually be experiencing something similar. We're going to tell you some actions that you can take, and we'll mention several resources that can help. To start, do not hesitate to reach out. That's the most important message that we can send to you today. Reach out and ask for help or talk to someone. Call 911 if you have an emergency or if someone is in immediate danger. You can also call 211. 211 is an excellent resource if you need help in connecting with supports and services that are available close to home. You will note on your screen that additional numbers will be displayed during this program for you to use that may also be helpful for you. Please access them and reach out to speak with someone. I am really excited to see the first scene. Joan, can you sort of lay out the scene for us?
So the first scene is about two sisters who live together, Mary Beth and Mickey Malarkey. And Mickey has Alzheimer's. She's been living with Alzheimer's for a while. And Mary Beth has been her caregiver. You're going to see a typical morning when Mary Beth is feeling the pressure of going to work. Welcome to our Forum Theatre presentation today. I want to tell you how this works. You're going to watch a scene that has to do with senior abuse. And so what I want you to look for are times when things make you feel really uncomfortable, when things are going sideways, and when you think that maybe something else could be done in order to prevent problems from happening. So as you watch, take note of those, take a little mental note for yourself, because we're going to come back afterwards and we're going to see what we can do about fixing some of these, well, fixing's the wrong word, exploring some of these issues and seeing what else might happen. Okay, I'd like to introduce you to these sisters who are here. Here comes Mickey. Let's see what's going on.
Oh, it's a nice day today. It feels good. Oh, look at this poor tree. I think it needs some water. Oh,
Mickey? 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 Where are you? Mickey? Mickey? Oh, no. Mickey!
Oh, Ben, knock
Mickey,
it
what
over.
are you doing outside? And you're still in your night clothes.
Hi, Mary Beth.
Oh, everybody's looking. We have to get you.
Oh, my pretty flowers.
Yeah, nice flowers. But where did you? Oh, Mrs. Wilson's going to kill us. Now, come on, let's get you back in the house quickly now. Come on. Now, I asked you to get washed and dressed.
Well,
In you go.
Mary Beth, come and watch TV with me. You know, we like to watch that wheel thing. Come and sit down with me.
No, sweetheart. There's no time for that. I have to leave for work. And you need to get washed and dressed.
I don't smell bad.
I'm spilling. Oh, no.
It's
I don't have time
It's
for this.
okay, it's okay. Come and sit down. Where's the remote
I
thingy?
can't.
Why not?
Because it's Tuesday. I have to go to work and you need to get into your bedroom.
No, I don't want to go to the bedroom.
Yes,
I
yes.
just got
Come
out of
on.
there.
Come
No,
on.
Mary
Come
Beth.
on.
No.
Come on.
I don't want to go.
Mickey.
Oh.
Mickey. Oh, we go
Mary
through this
Beth.
every time.
No.
No, Mickey.
No, I want to stay out here and watch TV.
No.
Come on. Mary Beth.
Oh, Mickey. Mickey.
No, I don't want to go in my room. I just stay out of there. No.
And sit
No.
down. Oh, I'm so late. Now I've left you some nice sandwiches and some fruit.
Well, I'll just make myself an egg.
No, I can't let you do the cooking. Not after you boil the pot dry and remember, it's too dangerous. Now, you've got your own little TV there.
I want to watch the TV in the living room. That's a little dinky thing. I don't want to watch that.
And I have to lock the door.
No. Why?
Because you wander like you just did.
No, I don't.
You did, and who's going to keep an eye on you?
Me.
No, you can't, and I can't afford to hire someone to look out. No. Sit. No,
I don't
sit.
want to be
No,
in here.
no, sit.
No.
Stay put. Oh, I'm so late. Oh, I'm always late.
Mary Beth, please don't go.
Oh, she's not going to make me feel guilty. Oh, you're so going to fire me.
Don't leave, please.
Oh, man, Mickey, why didn't you make a plan for your old age?
I'm a prisoner in my own home. I'm not going to take it. I'm not. I'm going to run away.
And that is the end of this scene. You can relax. Thank you. So panelists, so audience members, did you see anything in this scene that really bothered you, that made you feel uncomfortable? Yes. And I see people nodding their heads, yes. Did you see anything, any moment when someone was using their power over someone else to their disadvantage?
Definitely.
Yes, lots of yeses there. Did you have any ideas of what could be done differently in this situation, all the way from the very beginning of the scene to the end here? Did you have any ideas of, things that could happen differently? Yes. And maybe even characters that could be added that would help, or resources that might be available to us? Yes. We've got yes for all of this. Okay. And what I want to do is go back to the beginning of the play and look at the moment when Mickey is outside, and Mickey and Mary Beth finds Mickey out there. And if you have an idea for something that might go differently, then I'd like you to shout out, stop. This is called the stop game. And so I'll tell you how it works. You see something that's bugging you, then you shout out, stop. And we stop the action, and then we look at how we can change the action. So let's practice just the stop part, okay? You're all very quiet over there. So I'm going to count to 3, and on 3, I want you all to shout out stop. Got it? Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Stop!
Ooh, nice. You have lots of energy. Good. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. Okay. So can you, Mickey and Mary Beth, set up for when you're outside near this poor tree that needs help? We'll get an arborist in later.
Oh, Mickey, what are you doing outside? And you're still in your night clothes. Oh, everybody's looking.
Mary Beth, smell my pretty flowers.
Yeah, nice. Where did you? Oh, Mrs. Wilson's gonna kill us.
Stop.
Okay, stop. We have a stop here. Can you come on up, please? All right, good. And your name?
My name is Mrs. Wilson.
Oh, Mrs. Wilson.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you very much. You're going to become Mrs. Wilson?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So let's see what happens here instead, okay? And you're Sunit?
Yes, I'm
Thank you, Sunit. So where do you want to begin this?
I would want to begin when Mickey has the flowers, and you're trying to tell that Mrs. Wilson is going to kill us.
Good. Okay. Can we move a little bit out of the corner here? Thank you very much. Good.
Yes.
Fine.
Oh, Mrs. Wilson's gonna kill us.
Hey, hi ladies. How are you? Hi, Mickey.
Hello?
I realized you picked some lovely flowers.
Oh, Mrs. Wilson, I'm so sorry. She
No,
didn't
that's
mean anything.
no, they're lovely. You can have them. And I have some more at the back. Would you like to come and see some more?
Well, not today. Like, we have to go now, Mickey. So
Okay.
thank you. You're very kind. And
No
I'm
worries.
sorry to trouble you.
No, I'm not troubled. Would you like to come back later for
I
a
would
coffee?
like that.
And I'll take care of the tree for you.
Oh,
Do you
please.
want me to do
Yes,
something to
yes,
the tree?
Yes, that's a sick
Yeah.
tree.
What is it I want to do? What do
We'll
you?
give it some water, please.
Okay, let's give it water. Do you want to give it with me or later?
I think
We really
have
are
to
in a
go.
hurry at the moment, but
right.
thank you very much. We'll
Maybe
talk
I'll
again.
see you later for a cup of coffee.
Oh, that would be nice.
Thank
All right,
you. You're
I'll
very
count on you.
kind, and
Thank you.
Thank you for any trouble.
Right.
All right, let's stop it here. Thank you very much. Let's give Sunit a round of applause. Good. So Sunit, you just stay here for a minute, all right? Yes. What did you see that was different here from the first scene with just the two sisters alone? What was different? What happened?
Oh, definitely Mrs. Wilson's approach to Mickey. Just taking the time to interact with her, comment on the flowers, how beautiful they were. That, I have plenty more flowers, inviting her to come back and participate in picking some more flowers, instead of recognizing that Mickey had identified that she's really concerned about the tree. So rather than telling Mickey, don't worry about the tree, it'll be fine, she says, would you like to help me water the tree? So getting Mickey to participate in some of the activities that Mickey enjoys doing and feels like she has meaning and purpose.
And Sunit has made lots of invitations. Yes. How does that make you feel, Mickey?
Makes me feel part of the community.
Oh, wow. Have you felt like that recently?
No, I haven't connected with people because they don't see me.
I keep her locked away.
And when you're aura, they don't see you.
No.
People don't look at you.
I guess because I'm a little different.
Sunit, when you were interacting here, there was still some reticence from Mary Beth. What might you be able to do with Mary Beth, do you think, that would help in this situation?
I would definitely reach out to Mary Beth, that I, being your immediate neighbor, Mary Beth, like if there is some time, you have something to do, and you see me out in my garden, and from the entire scene, I just realized Mickey likes to be out. So she can hang around with me in my garden, and if that gives you a chance to do some of your chores,
Oh, that would be amazing.
if that's something, and I can have a cup of coffee with Mickey,
I like that idea.
and we can chat for a bit.
Yeah.
So if you want to go for a walk around my garden, that would be good.
Oh, that's wonderful. Aren't we lucky?
Oh, yes.
John?
I think that there are two themes at play as we talk about the way that Sunit, as Mrs. Wilson offered that kind of branch, that a lot of the pressure in the original scene comes from both the stigma and the isolation.
Yes.
And by treating Mickey like a human being, by seeing her as someone who is not a problem to be ashamed of, but rather a neighbor to be connected with, that proves that Mary Beth's fear is not founded, and also breaks down the isolation that would otherwise be there. When we think that something's shameful and needs to be hidden, we can feel really alone with things like that. But recognizing that the stress that Mary Beth is under as a caregiver, and also the experiences that Mickey's having as someone in cognitive decline, that all of those things are normal, and that the stresses of that are normal for everyone involved, and that there are ways to alleviate some of that pressure and stress. Stress and pressure, and that connection and community are together one of the things that can address both root issues there.
Very true, very true. Sunit, you made it very clear that having, for Mickey, that being part of the community was really important, and that friends and neighbors are there as a resource.
Absolutely, and I personally feel that even the sister who is taking care has all the good intentions, but then again, I get the pressure. And I think as neighbors and communities, we should not be judging on the basis of whatever a person decides to wear. She is in her comfort zone, and we respect that. So, yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Let's give Sunit a round of applause. Thank you. We're going to look at another scene that is really problematic, and that is over in the bedroom with the two sisters. So can you take your positions there, please?
We can.
I'll take your flower.
Thank you.
And again, when you see something that is bothering you, that seems like, oh, gee, I wish this weren't going on, I have an idea of what could be done to stop it. You shout out, stop, right?
And I can't afford to hire someone to look out for you. Oh, no, sit.
Stop.
No.
We have a stop over here. Come on up.
Yeah.
What would you like to see happen?
So I think that the responsibility in this scene, if we recognize that there are only two people in this room right now, and the person who's best in the position to make the change, to stop the violence that's happening, is the person who's perpetrating the violence. And what I would like to see, and I don't know if you want me to step into Mary Beth's shoes.
Yes,
but,
please.
Okay, well then I'll stop saying and start doing.
Thank you. That would be good.
Okay.
That would be good. You can just
okay,
go
we'll
over there
tag
and
out.
have it. And where do you want to start this? It could be here. It could be back there. It could be anywhere.
I think when I was watching it the first time, what jumped out to me is I think I'd like to start as Mary Beth is trying to push Mickey into the room.
Okay.
Because for me, that struck me as a line that we shouldn't cross. Like by the time we're physically pushing people into places that they don't want to be, we're imposing our will on another person, and that's really the definition of abuse.
Very, very true. So we'll begin here when she's still wanting to watch television.
Well, let's, if you're okay with it, I think that that moment of trying to push through the door, if we can start there.
Yep, we can do that. All right, so.
Okay.
So where are you? What are you?
I guess, I don't know, is the doorway here?
The doorway's
okay,
here.
and so Mickey was trying to not go through the door, so if we start with that moment of Mary Beth pushing.
No, I don't want to go in there. I want to go watch TV in the living room.
And I don't want to push you, and I'm late for work, and I'm so angry, and I can't live like this anymore. This isn't working. I think we need more help than we have.
Where would you get help?
Well, those people from the United Way keep talking about 211. So I think I should call my boss and let her know that I'm not going to make it into work. And I think we should make some phone calls to find out more about who can help us, because this isn't working. And I was really close to hitting you, and I haven't done that since we were 8. So I don't want to start again now.
That sounds like a plan, because I don't like being locked away in my room all day.
Are you happy?
No.
I'm not happy either. Let's change something.
Okay, I like that.
Round of applause.
Good, yay!
And I think from there, then there's the conversation of how do we call Sandra? How do we call the United Way? How do we reach out when we realize that things aren't working? And I think by the time Mary Beth is in this position, she's probably also feeling a lot of shame and a lot of anger, and is also probably feeling victimized by Mickey and by Mickey's illness. And in the work that we do, so I work with the men's program, and we do a lot of work around trying to end violence and abuse. And one of the things that all abuse has in common is a sense of objectification. So by the time we're at the point of being able to hurt or trap someone that, like we recognized earlier, we love and who we care about, who really we're trying to care for, but by the time you're at the place of isolating someone, locking them away, hitting them, physically pushing them around, there's probably some element of financial abuse based on the stress that's clear in this scene. Mary Beth feels like the victim of Mickey, even though for those of us watching, Mickey is clearly the victim of Mary Beth. And if there are caregivers watching the show today, or people who are in the lives of folks who need an element of care and who are providing care, it's a really important red flag to pay attention to say, where is the power in the relationship? Is there objectification or dehumanization? Are we using language that strips Mickey from being that sister who I love and care about to now, and you could think of any insult or derogatory term that Mary Beth might be using. And even in the end of the scene, we see Mary Beth say, I'm not going to let her make me feel guilty.
Yes.
Why didn't you plan more for your retirement? Well, she probably didn't plan to have cognitive decline or dementia or whatever label or diagnosis is being applied for the character. She didn't plan for any of that either.
No.
And when we feel out of control, when we're objectifying, that's when we need more help. And it's so important for people to know that help is only a phone call away, even if there is that shame or that stigma or that fear that might prevent us from calling.
It's that feeling and recognizing that feeling that's the moment that you can catch yourself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing. And you certainly felt that when you lifted your hand, you recognized that moment. You mentioned 211. Can you tell us, if I were to phone 211, what am I going to have?
So 211 is great. Just like when you dial 911, those are the only 3 numbers you have to put in. When you call 211, you'll talk to a live operator who has at their fingertips an incredible database of supports and services and information about what's available all across Ontario. So you call 211, you'll talk to a real live human being, you'll tell them where you are and what you're looking for, and they'll work through their database to give you information about the organizations that and services that are available. They'll give you phone numbers and hours of operation, locations, quick descriptions that organizations fill in themselves on this database. So they won't sign you up for programs, but they'll let you know what's available and who to call.
Great, thank you so much, John.
Yeah, and that's good to know, because I never thought of that, and I was just rushing so hard to stay in one place that I just didn't have time in my mind to think about where I could get help, or I didn't know what to do. So thank you for telling me.
You probably thought you had to do it all yourself.
Exactly.
And that's not true.
And I didn't want anybody to think that I wasn't good enough, that I couldn't do the right thing.
Right. Now, for those of you who are in the panel, is Mary Beth unusual? Or is this very common for a caregiver to end up feeling as overwhelmed as Mary Beth does?
It's very common.
It's common.
Unfortunately, it is
Okay.
very common.
Right. So we're going to start back at the very beginning of this.
If you could actually take it from when Mary Beth is looking out the window and, oh, Mickey, oh no, she's outside. Okay. Mickey.
Oh, hi, Mary Beth.
Hi, Mickey. I was so worried for you. I was looking all over for you.
You didn't go far.
No, thank goodness. Yeah. Oh, you have such.
Smell my pretty flowers.
Oh. Oh, they smell lovely. Yeah.
Isn't this a nice day?
It is a beautiful day. You know what? I have to go to work, but I thought maybe what we could do is after I'm done, we'll go outside for a nice walk and enjoy the rest
that would
of the
be
day.
good. Yeah.
Okay, how about I bring you inside for now, and I'll make you a nice cup of coffee.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Good, thank you very much. Wow, that's a really different approach. Sandra, come back. It's good, it's good. So what did Sandra do here that changed the situation?
Responded with compassion.
Compassion, yes. What else did you see, Sunit?
I saw an act of compassion and kindness, and I think the tone of her voice without any frustration, and giving Mickey a different perspective that it is okay to venture outside rather than feeling frustrated.
Yes.
And maybe we could do that again when I come back and have coffee. So that changed the whole situation. And there were no huffs, sighs, puffs, which made the other person feel a lot more better. It was the tone of the language and the body language.
Yes.
So that made the entire difference.
Absolutely. It really did make a difference. You're such a lovely sister.
Yeah.
Now, is this Mary Beth radically different from the original Mary Beth?
I think it's Mary Beth without the stress.
Aha.
Or the burnout.
Or the
The
burnout.
burnout, which, yeah.
Okay, without the stress or the burnout or...
So I just wanted to add to that, Mary Beth could still be stressed.
Yeah.
However, before she approached Mickey, she needed to take a couple of deep breaths.
Yes.
And then approach Mickey.
Yes.
I like the way she treated Mickey like she had a valid reason to have needs, like her needs were validated, I should say.
Yeah.
That was really good, because Mary Beth was spinning only on what she needed. And it was a good reminder that Mickey also has needs. And it's almost like I'd forgotten that.
Yeah. You know what struck me was that maybe this is the Mary Beth after she's had the conversation that John was suggesting,
Right.
you know, to go and talk to people
Yeah.
and get some feedback, and I think you might have some good feedback for her too, Sam. And I said your name wrong. Joanna. And I think we'll hear from you in a minute about some of those things that Mary Beth might be able to do. But this really seems like you've evolved as a person. And I thank you very much for modeling this. This is just a dream sister, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're a great sister. Thank you very much. Whenever we do a forum theater piece like this, we always have people from the community who work in the field and know about the resources available and have really good things that they can offer. And we have these people here with us today. We're very thankful that you're here. I just want to open up a discussion in general about other things that you were thinking about. How does that relate to the kind of services that you offer? And I'll stop talking because you have lots of good things to say. I'll start with you, Sandra. The Alzheimer's Society, is that a short-term connection, or how does that work?
Yeah, so no, it's not a short-term connection. It's basically once the individual is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease or other form of irreversible dementia, they can be, if they wish, connected to the Alzheimer's Society for all of our programs and services right up to the very end of their journey with the disease.
Mm. Now, the overwhelmed caregiver, is that something that any of your organizations might be able to help out with? Yeah?
Yes. Oh, certainly. Because a lot of it, and when you think of a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, many people have had experiences or know of somebody who's had Alzheimer's disease, but they may not have the knowledge and understanding of the disease. Unfortunately, a lot of people, if you say that, oh, my loved one has Alzheimer's disease, they think right away to the very end of the disease. But there's so much more to live for. It doesn't change the person. Once you receive a diagnosis, the day of their diagnosis, they're still the same person. So we have to really look at, okay, well, yes, now we know why they're behaving the way that they're behaving. We have a diagnosis. So it is a disease of the brain. Now we have to figure out how to adapt to these changes that they're experiencing. Mm-hmm. In Mickey's case, she liked the outdoors. So that's where she headed. And she loved gardening. So now we're figuring out, oh, how can I adapt to her brain changes to still keep her safe within her community, but still enjoy those activities. But care partners may not be aware of that. Mm-hmm. And so they're always trying to perhaps keep their person safe in a way that, oh, you can no longer do the gardening, or you can no longer operate the stove, or you can't go outside anymore by yourself. And so by doing all of this, the caregiver trying to do this 24/7 mm-hmm. becomes increasingly more stressed. Yeah. And there's a lot of resentment that comes with the fact that as a caregiver, now I have to do this 24/7, and I can't go out for coffee with my friends anymore. Right. I didn't ask for this. And now I'm stuck looking after you for 24 hours a day. And
that really is something that Mary Beth feels a lot of resentment toward. And she talks about, what am I going to do? They're going to fire me. And her fear about work and the whole work environment and situation. Joanna, is there something that you work with employment?
I'm an employment lawyer, so I advise non-unionized workers about their rights or their lack of rights in the workplace. So I think here for Mary Beth, her fear of being fired is very well founded. Mm. The reality is that there's no protection for caregivers who are caring for a sibling. Hmm. So in Ontario, we have the Human Rights Code, which protects specific characteristics or some relationships and provides protections from discrimination. If this situation was slightly different, where Mary Beth was taking care of a dependent child, or a dependent parent, it would be protected under the grounds of family status. Unfortunately, family status as defined by the Human Rights Code of Ontario does not cover sibling-to-sibling relationships.
Wow.
So the reality is that, yes, let's say in this instance, Mary Beth shows up to work 30 minutes late. It's the 10th time this has happened in the last 6 months. The employer tells her, sorry, we have to terminate, and they let her go. As long as they comply with the requirements in the Employment Standards Act around the way that they terminate her, it's all permitted under the law.
Wow.
So I think her fear is very well founded, and certainly in the work that I do, I see terminations happen all the time.
Do those protections apply to intimate partners or people who are married?
So there is protections based on the ground of marital status, and marital status is meant to protect people based on whether or not they're married, single, common law, or widow. I haven't, off the top of my head, I can't think of a case where it's been applied within a relationship where one married partner has to take care of another married partner. Generally, when we're talking about obligations to care for a dependent person, we're usually only talking about it within the parameters of family status, not marital status. But that's actually a great question, and I think a great topic for research to probe into further. Now, in terms of the options that could be available for Mary Beth, I mean, one would be that she could look into potentially taking a leave of absence while she's trying to figure out what the best way is to move forward with her relationship with Mickey and to ensure Mickey is getting the care that she needs. Under the Employment Standards Act, there are several types of job-protected leaves of absence. So what it means by job protection is that you can leave your job for a certain period of time, and when you come back, your position is supposed to be ready and available for you as if you never left. So under the Employment Standards Act, there is something called family caregiver leave that allows you to take time off to care for a family member who's ill, and that leave does extend to sibling relationships. So if Mary Beth needed to take, let's say, 8 weeks off, that is available under the Employment Standards Act. She would also be able to apply for income support through a federal program through the Employment Insurance Act. Through the Employment Insurance Act, she could apply for income support, which goes up to about 55% of your earnings. And that income support lasts for 15 weeks. Now, I just want to point out, though, there's a bit of an incongruity there, right? So under the Employment Standards Act, which is provincially legislated, you can only take 8 weeks off. But under the federal act, you can take up to 15 weeks off. So the reality is, and certainly for anyone who's listening, it would be a good idea to talk to our legislators, to talk to our MPPs, and ask that the job protected leave under the Employment Standards Act match what is available under the Federal Employment Insurance Act. If you can get up to 15 weeks of benefits, why can't caregivers get 15 weeks of leave under the provincial law? It's a change that we should see so that we can support people like Mary Beth and they can get through these really difficult periods knowing that their job is going to be ready for them when they're available and able to come back.
What a great idea. That's good. Thank you for that. Wow. Sunit, you work with neighborhoods, you work with people in community. Is there any kind of service that your organization could supply if somebody is caring for a sibling or someone who is incapacitated like that?
Absolutely. And I work with the YMCA Grey Bruce Settlement and Language Services, and we deal with people who come to Canada from war-torn countries, and trauma is there. And they do have family members or sponsors that are here within Canada to look after them. So we do come across this situation on quite a regular basis. And I think one of the biggest assets, I think, is reaching out to your own neighbors, friends, community partners, because I get the pressure of the sibling or the person who's taking care of, they can't do it all. And I think reaching out to your immediate neighbors, it's all about building those community connections so that your neighbors are aware of the situation. And it might be a senior who is suffering from dementia, Alzheimer's, or it might be a teen suffering from mental health issues, right? So just a friendly watch out for those, that's the first step. We also have a good pool of volunteers who are retired community partners. And sometimes when people have disabilities or surgeries, they have no one to talk to reaching out to our organization and seeing if there is a volunteer who would sit and simply talk.
Wow.
Right? Or somebody, if maybe want to go to the park for a small walk, that is an effective use of the time. We also have volunteers in terms of teens who are looking for those high school hours.
Oh, yes.
And I think youth are the future to our, they are the future of our countries, right? So they need to have that compassion, that kindness for the elderly or people in need. So reaching out, especially during the summer, like if you have a teen, to go around, talk, to just sit and talk.
And so what they do is teens will get hours credited to them that will help them to graduate.
Absolutely.
From
like
high school.
We do have a couple of individuals that we deal with, and they are in the long-term care homes. And so the families would reach out because they are busy and they have no one to talk to. So if the teens have the availability, all they do is just sit for a fixed period of time and have a chat.
Right. Simple.
It's as simple as communication. It's as simple as watching out, right? Observing. And
building community, that is...
Absolutely. I think it's all about knowing the resources, just like John had a very good point, reaching out to 211. Like the help is there, like Sandra, knowing, and even from the employment perspective, so that I think it's all our community connection and realizing that, yes, and there is no shame in looking out to community connections, to reach out to people.
Exactly, that's great. Sandra, one last thing?
I was just going to add that when a caregiver is experiencing that much stress, it takes extra effort for them to reach out. So as a neighbor, as a friend, recognizing that this person is stressed and taking the steps to say, how can I help you?
There was a very prominent campaign in the gender-based and intimate partner violence prevention field called Neighbors, Friends, and Families.
Yes.
And I think about that a lot. It was based around the idea that people who are experiencing abuse, it's the neighbors, friends, and families who are most likely to see it and most likely be able to support both the person experiencing violence and the person perpetrating the violence. And that phrase just jumped into my head thinking about what you were both saying. And that makes, I think, programs like this really important, where the more that we can raise awareness generally, the better we are, the more likely we are to have anyone be able to see Mickey in the front yard getting yelled at and to intervene in a way that's compassionate for everybody.
Indeed. Thank you very much.
John, I'd like to pick up on what you just said about Neighbors, Friends, and Family campaign in the gender-based violence sector. There's a similar program for elder abuse prevention called It's Not Right. It emphasizes the role of people in the community in reaching out to seniors to reduce their isolation. Isolation is one of the biggest risk factors for elder abuse, and isolation deepens as abuse continues. So we have a very simple guideline through the It's Not Right program for how concerned members of the community can reach out to seniors. We call it See It, Name It, Check It. See it is just simply if you see something happening with an older adult and you have an uneasy feeling about it, you don't ignore that feeling, you don't push it away, you act on it. So that takes us to name it, which is the second step. Name it is just simply making a factual observation to the senior, such as saying, it looks like your life is changing a lot, or saying to Mary Beth in our segment, it looks like you're really stressed right now. Then that takes us to step 3 with a check it, which we just say something like, how are you? we're doing a check-in. So we don't ignore our uneasy feeling. We see what's happening, we name it by saying, Mary Beth, you look so stressed. And then we check it and say, how are you? That approach really opens up people to feel comfortable to talk.
Unfortunately, we're out of time for this conversation, but it's wonderful that you've been talking here, and I hope that you've felt some of this sink in at home. You know, you can have these conversations, as these folks have been saying, with your family and with your friends and with your neighbors. Talk about some of these things that are going on. We mentioned embarrassment, and it's just a part of life that we're going through, and it's okay to talk about it. There are no wrong doors to go to. Absolutely. You can go to anyone and feel free to talk to them about this, anyone that you feel comfortable with, and talk. So thank you very much today for being with us. This conversation isn't long enough to fit it all in, but I really appreciate everything that you've had to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The World Health Organization found that 1 in 6 seniors worldwide experience abuse. 1 in 6. That's those that are actually reported. There are some that aren't reported, so the numbers may actually be higher. Just picture 1 in 6. Well, ending abuse starts with talking about it. We've talked about that in our program today. Revealing it, and then we can do something together about it. I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation. I know I certainly have. And we welcome you to talk with your friends and family and neighbors. Sometimes, though, talking like this can bring on confusing, difficult, or painful thoughts and memories. It's okay. In fact, we encourage you to reach out, turning to someone that you can trust, that you're comfortable talking to. People like, a good friend, a family member, a teacher, an advisor, and mentor. That could be a good option. And if somebody turns to you, that's okay too. Listen, there are also community resources available. You will see numbers to call. There is no wrong door to reach out and ask for help for yourself, for your friends, for your neighbors, for your family. These doors can assist you. Joan, I have appreciated the opportunity to participate. I've really enjoyed the honor of being a co-host with you today. And I have learned from all of these amazing people. I especially want to thank the amazing creative talent and facilitation skills of Joan Chandler, who is the founding artistic director of Sheatre, and to our producer, David Sarita. Thank you to Sheatre, who believe in the power of theater and the arts to change lives and contribute to a healthy, compassionate society. Thank you to all of our participants who also have shared their time and talent with us for this important message about elder abuse and World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. Please share this information with your friends, work colleagues, neighbors, and community networks. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Oh, you cannot throw your granny off a bus. No, no. Oh, you cannot throw your granny off a bus. No, no. Oh, you cannot throw your granny, 'cause she's your mammy's mammy. You cannot throw your granny off a bus. Oh, you cannot throw your granny off a bus. No, no. Oh, you cannot throw your granny off a bus. No, no. no. Oh, you cannot throw your granny, 'cause she's your mammy's mammy. You cannot throw your granny off a bus. Oh, you cannot throw your granny off a bus.
No, no.
Oh, you cannot throw your granny off a bus.
No, no.
Oh, you cannot throw your granny, 'cause she's your mammy's mammy. You cannot throw your granny off a bus.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is the Warden of Grey County, Brian Milne, and it's always a pleasure to have Brian here in the I was going to say the studio, but it's not. You're in your office, and I'm in mine. So, a conversation then. Let's leave it at that.
Indeed. Thank you, David. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Now, before we begin, I got to ask you, how's the corn doing down in Southgate?
Corn is doing well, and as they say, corn makes whiskey. Or I was like, no, rain makes corn. Corn makes whiskey. There you go. So no, the corn's doing well.
I was noticing on my commute down to Durham earlier this week that what were bare fields have now got 6 inches, 8 inches of corn, and that's quite something.
Yeah, it's coming along. It 2 or 3 weeks ago, the weather we'd had a lot of rain, and there were some people starting to get a little concerned. But anyway, I think that concern has passed now, and we're well on the way to a good crop. What looks like a good crop. Yep.
This is what I'm hearing. What I was also told was that the big thing is that with that, we had warm weather right when we needed it, thawed the ground out, so the ground itself was warm and gave the seeds a good kickstart.
Yeah, no, it did get a good start. Although I was just out in Calgary last week for the FCM conference and talking to a fellow from Manitoba. They're really struggling to